Hello?
Your time is up, Riley.
Pardon?
I'm gonna take you and cut you up, bit by bit. And once I can afford to distribute it, I'm gonna share your screams all over the world on my new podcast.
Wait, what?
Did I stutter?
No, wait. You pay to distribute your podcast?
Well, of course. That's the only way to make sure people can see it.
No, you should use Anchor.
Anchor? What's that?
Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. It has creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right through your phone and computer.
Wow, really?
Yeah. And they distribute the podcast for you, allowing you to easily hit the biggest platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and others.
No way.
And you can get paid right away, no matter how many viewers you have. And guess what?
What?
It's 100% free.
No.
Yes.
That's impossible.
I promise you it's possible, and you can check for yourself right now by going to anchor.fm and signing up.
I gotta go.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
You're listening to Make Every Death Count. Brought to you by the Slash and Cast Podcast Network. Listen closely, horror fans, and get ready for one hell of a show. But make sure you hang on tight, because this is going to be a very spooky and bumpy ride. I hope you survive. Now, to all my favorite ghouls, goblins, and ghosts, here are your hosts, Nick and Riley.
What's happening, lovers? What's going on? We gonna get tropical? We gonna get tropical? Welcome back to another episode of Make Every Death Count, brought to you by the Slash Gas Podcast Network. We are your hosts. My name is Riley.
My name is Nick.
And today we got an interesting one for you. We're going to be diving into the Unproduced script for a Halloween Resurrection sequel that was going to continue the H2O Resurrection storyline. But before we dive in, hey, how's it going? All right, how's your life going? What movies you watching? What things have you been doing?
Since the last time we recorded, I've been working as usual, but next week, well, actually Monday, Labor Day, I work Sunday. I work until Labor Day.
Which is this weekend.
Yeah, I work today, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then that's it. And then just Tuesday nights until I start my other job.
Peace.
So, yeah, been busy. But I have watched 2 movies and a show.
Whoa.
I watched Holliston, finished
Nice.
it again. Tugs at the heartstrings a little bit in those final couple episodes.
Which is on Shudder now, by the way, I believe.
Yep. Or coming very soon.
Yeah.
I watched Summer of '84 on Shudder. Always great. Very scary. And then I watched House of the Devil last night.
Nice.
It's as good as I remembered.
So all repeat visits for you. Nothing new, huh?
Correct.
So I promised Rachel for her birthday that we'd watch all the Harry Potter movies, and I finally finished those up last night.
Oh God.
That was the first time I've seen them like all the way through in a run like that.
What were the breaks? Were there any breaks?
Yes. I don't have time to spend a whole fucking day watching movies. We watch like one a day for
8-9 days or whatever.
Yeah, it's like pretty much since her birthday. So
nice.
Yeah, no, it wasn't bad. We watched both part 1 and part 2 of Deathly Hallows back to back. So
nice.
Yeah, I mean, I like Harry Potter a lot. I have like that big fancy like 30 disc set. That's because I always did like them. I just haven't gotten a chance to watch them since forever. So it was a neat experience seeing them all again. As for like horror movies, I don't think I've really watched anything since last time we recorded. I've been insanely busy. I'm on a new journey that I have yet to share with anybody really like publicly. There's only some like family and friends that know, and until right now I'm still not ready because I want to do it the right way. I have a very specific plan for announcing what I've been doing, but it's kept me busy. Exhausting, nonetheless. But yeah, man, the network itself also has been extremely exciting the last couple weeks as we've pretty much like quadrupled in size since a month ago.
And still growing.
Yeah, and still growing. Still in the midst of negotiating with a handful of shows. But yeah, so many cool, amazing shows part of the network now. We're up to almost 20 shows as at the time of recording this, at 19, hopefully hitting 20 here very, very soon. And yeah, it's just they're all great shows, and we're glad to have everyone in part of it. So if you haven't checked out the rest of the network, please do. You can just go over slashcast.net and check them out there. And if you have a podcast that you'd like to be involved, hey, go apply right there on the website. And yeah, just want to get it out there. Make sure you check out the rest of the shows because they're very, very good, and you'll very much enjoy it. New episode of Little Matt on the way as well. We were hoping to wrap up last night, but we didn't. So we'll have that episode probably at the end of next week, like next Friday, Saturday. Something like that. And that'll be that. So like I said, for this, we're going to go into a bit of a like synopsis and breakdown of these unproduced Halloween Resurrection sequel script, a Halloween 9 script. But before we do, like I said, shout out to Seth T. Miller from the HorrorSyndicate.com, who pretty much brought this whole story to light. And I'm going to be pulling directly from that article quite a bit. So if you want to read that yourself, you're welcome to do so. But I'm pretty much just going to be a breakdown of that. A lot of this will be in Seth's words, especially the breakdown of the script, as I don't have the script. I requested access to it as it's on Google Drive. I requested access, but I have not been approved to look at it yet.
What the hell?
So maybe someday I will. So I haven't read this breakdown yet. You haven't seen it, so I'm just going to kind of read it to you. But at the end of the day, Resurrection was Halloween Resurrection. I know it's like really hated. But ultimately, it was pretty successful. I mean, it fed off the success of Halloween H2O. It just fans really, really hated it, and still do. It's one of those that everyone still shits on to this day. Which, fair enough, I can't blame you. While I do find Resurrection really entertaining, to compare it to the original Halloween is just, it's blasphemy. You can't do it. It's bad, horrific movie. But the Akkads, like the Akkad family, who have been doing Halloween since the very beginning, that being like Mustafa Akkad and his family. They were desperate after hearing Resurrection bomb, and they wanted to use fans and get a proper direction of the franchise by using fans. So they actually went to their website, the Halloween Movies website, which I believe is still going strong, the exact same website that you know and love today at HalloweenMovies.com. They put a poll on there, and a whole bunch of options were on there for fans to vote on. And it got to the point where, at the same time, you have to remember that Freddy vs. Jason came out, and Dimension Films wanted to go down that route. So Dimension Films was like, yo, let's make a crossover between Halloween and Hellraiser called Halloween, which Halloween is actually a script that we have a draft of, that we plan on using for Little Mad in the future. So we might get into that eventually. But yeah, the Akkads were not really interested in doing Halloween in a poll. So they were like, okay, let's make it up to the fans. They put a poll on their website, and it was out of almost 85,000 votes, 46% voted yes and 54% voted no. And honestly, on paper, I think I would vote no as well. I don't know about you, but I think I'd probably vote no. Pinhead and Myers seem like a weird combination.
What year was this around again?
Because it's playing off of Versus, it would have been like either late 2003 or 2004.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have voted for that.
Yeah, but here's the thing, because this information was not on the poll, but it turns out that Clive Barker agreed to write that movie, agreed to write Halloween, and John Carpenter agreed to direct it.
Whoa.
Yeah, so like with that information, that'd be pretty wild.
Yeah, that might be just enough to swing my vote. Maybe, probably.
Yeah,
wow.
to see Clive Barker and John Carpenter work together on a Halloween and Hellraiser crossover would be pretty wild. I just don't know how you do it to make it interesting. It seems like one of the toughest crossovers to pull off, but I don't know. If anyone could do it, it'd be Clive and John, so it would have been at least interesting to see. But yeah, after that, they decided they're just going to take different pitches. They were just going to toss out Halloween because fans didn't want to see it. And they moved forward with a bunch of different pitches. But, of course, in the midst of that is when Mustafa Akkad and his daughter were killed in a suicide bombing in Amman, Jordan. So That was like a very sudden death that happened on November 11th, 2005. And of course, from there, Malik Akkad, Mustafa's son, took over, and he decided to go with Rob Zombie's direction instead of going with the Halloween 9 movie, believing that it was best to leave the original franchise legacy to his father, and he could just do his own thing. He didn't want to play with his father's legacy, which I understand. Of course, things have changed a little bit as you look now, as his father's legacy has definitely been brought back to light with Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills. So, yeah, I mean, it seemed like a good choice then. Perhaps maybe it wasn't, depending on how you feel about the Rob Zombie movies. But I respect the choice because, hey, that'd be tough as shit to do after you're losing your dad and then just trying to take over a company like that. And what do you do? I don't know. I probably would have done the same thing. I don't even know if I would have made a movie at all. But at the end of the day, that's one of their biggest money makers. So you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But one of the unproduced scripts considered for a potential Halloween 9 prior to Mustafa's death was from a pair of British writers named Duddy Appleton and Jim Keeble. Now, in this script, which was called Halloween 9 Retribution, it was intended as being a sequel to Halloween Resurrection and carrying on the timeline from Halloween H2O, which I already told you, but that was my pre-notes there. Now let's dive into the story itself. All right. The script, first of all, this first draft of the script was from February 20th of 2004. And it begins as Smith's Grove on Halloween night in 1964. A colleague of Dr. Loomis named Dr. Hill visits with young Michael Myers, believing that no one is beyond retribution. A nurse named Spence disagrees with this, knowing very well that the young boy locked in his cell is pure evil and is deserving of being locked away. Dr. Hill is left in a room with Michael, whose eyes are described as being black, as he tries to reach the child, attempting to get him to be responsive by encouraging him to draw with colored pencils. Instead, Michael looks at Dr. Hill with his black eyes and stabs his own hand with a colored pencil. This freaks Dr. Hill, and as he reacts to this, Michael grabs a hold of him with his other hand. There is a struggle as Dr. Hill screams for help, and Nurse Spence and other orderlies arrive to free Dr. Hill from Michael's grip. Unknowing to any of them somehow, Michael steals Dr. Hill's horn-rimmed glasses, and from there we go 15 years later to the night that Michael escapes from Smith's Grove in 1978. An older Nurse Spence visits Michael, informing him that she is retiring and gloating about how Dr. Loomis is going to be bringing him before the state board to keep him locked up for the rest of his life. But then, as she turns to leave, Michael makes a noise which stops Nurse Spence in her tracks. She goes back towards him, attempting to get him to speak again, but then it's revealed that Michael had made a blade out of the glass he stole 15 years earlier and sliced through his straitjacket, freeing himself. He kills Nurse Spence and then wanders the hospital, even at one point going to the files on him, when we then see him driving away in Loomis' station wagon, going right to the opening of Halloween, the OG. It's already starting off interesting. Like I said, I haven't read this before either. First of all, Michael always was described in like the original as never really being aggressive. Like, right, he was just kind of he sat at the wall, staring at the wall, looking past the wall, looking to this night. That's not so much what we're getting here, but it does give an explanation as to why they were out and about on that night when Nurse Marion and Loomis go to pick up Michael. It explains why all of them were out and about.
I mean, that is interesting. How when he was a kid, he looked to that night 15 years later and kept the glasses all that time waiting for that moment.
Yeah, man, imagine that. Being that young, getting those glasses, making like a shiv out of them, and not using them for another 15 years to then escape. It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not so much against it. I don't mind that. All right. Continuing onward. The story then shifts to present day 2004, where we meet the lead female protagonist, Leah, who is on a small getaway with the family of her friend Tanya, whom she's been estranged from for a while now. Here it's established that the road to the cabin leads past the now abandoned Smith's Grove Hospital, which comes into play later on in the script. Meanwhile, at a local university, Freddie Harris, the one and only Busta Rhymes, is promoting his new book, which boasts about how he defeated fear and killed Michael Myers. As Freddie signs autographs, he's approached by a man who is revealed to be John Tate, which is that's already interesting to me.
Yeah.
Busta Rhymes and Josh Hartnett sharing the screen together. Wow. That would be something. John questions Freddy about Michael's demise, not believing that it is true. Freddy, however, insists that Michael is indeed deceased. Later, as Freddy leaves, he takes notice that his tires have been slashed. Just then, a campus security SUV pulls up. Freddy approaches asking for help, but doesn't get a response. It's revealed that a campus security officer is dead in the passenger seat, and Michael is behind the wheel. Michael backs the SUV up, and while Freddy gets the jack out of his trunk, Michael steps out of the vehicle. Michael knocks Freddy down with a nightstick, but Freddy recovers and pulls a gun out. He insists that it can't be Michael and demands that the person in front of him to remove the mask. But before Freddy can fire the gun, Michael knocks Freddy down again, causing him to drop the gun. Freddy and Michael get in a short scuffle as Michael tightens his grip on Freddy's throat. Freddy fights back briefly, telling Michael that he is not afraid of him. Michael then forces his knife into Freddy's chest, killing him.
Okay.
Was there any explanation in there about how Michael survived?
No.
Yeah, there's not. Because, like, the last thing we see is the kind of dumb cliffhanger that is the end of Halloween Resurrection, with his opening his eyes being all burnt up and shit. Yeah, but there's no real explanation, like, because did he just break out of the morgue? Did anything come about that? Because the thing is, if he actually did get away from there, Freddy then would know. It would be all of the news. So,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah.
Plot holes. I'm sensing plot holes. Okay. Let me see. I lost my spot. All right. And interesting as well. Maybe she'll come up later, but there's no. I'm forgetting her character name. It's Bianca. Her real name's Bianca. The main chick in Resurrection. I'm zoning out her name, but
yeah.
It'll come to me eventually. But yeah, she's not mentioned so far, so we'll see if she comes up into play. But it's still great to see John. So, all right, later on, John finds Freddy's body, notices a campus security vehicle approaching, and then coming to a stop. John goes to the SUV, but notices that something isn't right. He knows that Michael is behind the wheel. As he reaches for the door handle, Michael steps on the gas and drives away. That seems out of character as well.
Mm-hmm.
But, all right, contradicting the first present-day scene with the characters on their way to the cabin, we're reintroduced to Leah and Tanya, as well as many of their friends and classmates. While most of these characters appear throughout the story, none of them are particularly interesting or distinct. Aside from the faceless and pointless characters that only exist in the story for the sake of body count, we're introduced to Daryl, an edgelord loner pegged to be a potential mass shooter by his peers, who continue to give him shit. We're also introduced to Jenny, who is the daughter of the sheriff, and then later on we're introduced to Leah's younger brother, Noah, who is a mute and communicates with sign language. Leah, Daryl, Jenny, and Noah are the only 4 teenagers to give a shit about, while the rest are obnoxious and useless.
Okay. Definitely that paragraph there kind of dates the script.
Yeah,
just being like, oh yeah, he's potential mass shooter. You can't say that now.
Yeah, that's that. I wonder what kind of jokes they make to say he's a potential mass shooter in the
actual script. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, if this is interesting enough. I mean, we're getting all the spoilers obviously here, but if I can get access to the script, maybe we'll put it on a Little Mad someday. Who knows?
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Now, with the holiday of Halloween banned in the town of Haddonfield, which is wild. Good luck doing that. And a curfew in effect, the teens concoct a plan to sneak away and have a Halloween party at Tanya's family's cabin at Camp Crystal Lake. I'm just kidding. It doesn't say that. But Leah agrees to go as long as she can bring along her little brother. Meanwhile, John visits his mother's grave. Oh. You hate to see it. The following day, as the teens gather in a van for their trip, John stands outside of the plot of land that the Myers house once stood on prior to the fire at the end of Halloween Resurrection. Here, John is approached by Sheriff Shaw, who doesn't recognize him at first. Shaw threatens to haul John's ass to jail if he doesn't move along, but then he recognizes him after seeing some ID and offers his condolences, as he apparently went to school with Lori back in the day. John mentions that he believes Michael is still alive, but Sheriff Shaw is convinced that Michael is dead and politely asks John to go home. As the teenagers make their way to the cabin, the van suddenly breaks down as they near the abandoned hospital. Tanya and her boyfriend run off into the woods to boink. That is specifically the wording there, to boink.
Wow.
Despite the frigid temperature. However, in the middle of their trip to Pound Town, Seth Miller, who wrote all this breakdown here, used some great use of verbal language here. I like this. So in the middle of their trip to Pound Town, they discover a woman's body buried in the leaves, which naturally kills the mood. Ah,
damn.
Don't
you hate when that happens?
Meanwhile, Leah wanders around the woods looking for Noah and runs into Daryl, who is hanging around with a crossbow. Oh, his name's Daryl, and he has a crossbow, huh?
Weird.
But this was written before, but the comics would have been out by then.
Weird.
I don't know how relevant the comics were in 2004, but just saying. All right, this begs the question of how he got here without an automobile, considering the distance between Haddonfield and Smith's Grove as established in the original John Carpenter film. And their small talk is interrupted by Tanya's naked boyfriend, who runs towards them urgently. All of the teens gather at the spot where the body was discovered, but the body is now missing, and nobody believes Tanya or her boyfriend about the body. And it's never mentioned again. Weird. Okay. Daryl manages to fix the van, but at this point, the frigid weather breaks into a pre-winter blizzard of snow and sleet, and the van can't make it to these conditions. Listen, it's October 31st in Illinois. Chill out with the weather. It's not that bad. It's very rare if we're getting blizzards in October.
Well, we did that one year, like 3 years ago.
It's usually, if it happens, it's very limited. It's like a quick sleet, and then it usually won't stick because it was too warm before then. The ground's yet to be frozen. It's not very often. Whatever. Where was I at? Okay, the group of teenagers decide to take shelter in the abandoned hospital instead. One of the teens attempt to reach out to local authorities to help with their situation, but because of the storm, they're told to sit tight. See, that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, I don't think cops are going to blow you off because of an Illinois winter storm in October. Yeah. But whatever. All right, especially because we're also very prepared for winter. Because based on Halloween 6, we're going into deep territory here. The train, when they're at the train station, it runs through Dixon. So Haddonfield is somewhere on the Dixon line, which we know is very far north in Illinois, which is what we're used to. They're prepped. They're ready to go.
They're ready for winter in September.
Right. So just, all right. You need someone from Illinois to write this. I got you. All right. Back in Haddonfield, John is researching Michael Myers when he's approached by Lee Brackett, who also isn't satisfied with the theory that Michael had died and provides John with newspaper clippings regarding the situation at the morgue. Oh, that occurred that night while Michael's body was brought in. Brackett believes that Michael is alive and still killing, and is responsible for multiple unsolved murders that have been happening in the state. They both know that Michael will return home to Haddonfield, but with the Myers house burned to the ground, the question remains, where? That's a good point. What would he do without his house? As John continues his investigation, the teen wanders around the abandoned hospital, and frankly, these scenes are not very interesting, at least to Sir Seth Miller. Eventually, the teens are stalked and killed one by Michael, and at first, Daryl is blamed for what's happening, although both Leah and her brother don't buy it. John visits the home of Dr. Hill and discovers his dead body in the living room, and then leaves the scene. He then ventures to the home of another colleague of Loomis and Hill, where he talks to the man's widowed wife. Here she mentions how the treatment of the patients at Smith's Groves haunted her husband up until the day he was murdered. John then figures out that Michael must be at Smith's Grove, his secondary home. Oh, I get it. That kind of makes sense. I see what they're doing. John tries to contact the police department, who has jurisdiction of the area that the institution resides on, but the police believe that this is nothing more than a prank. Are you shitting me? They inform John that there are people stuck up in the area, and that due to the storm, they were instructed to stay put, and they advise John to do the same as the road isn't safe to travel. John then contacts Brackett asking for his help, hoping that Brackett's position as a former sheriff would help convince the police to do something, but Brackett doesn't respond at first, and their phone call ends. Now, if there's this is in Seth Miller's words here. If there's something that I really liked about the script, it would be the treatment of Brackett. After the phone conversation between him and John ends, we get to see how Brackett is affected by that night in 1978, not only because he lost his daughter, but also because of his guilt. The conversation between Brackett and Loomis from 1978 play as voiceover and highlight his sense of guilt for not taking Loomis seriously, and that his lack of action on that night led to his greatest tragedy. He goes to his basement to get his gun and old badge, and then goes to see Sheriff Shaw. Shaw offers sympathy towards Brackett, just believing that this night is difficult one for him to do to his loss 25 years earlier, and suggests that Brackett just go home. Brackett, however, plays into this as he sneakily steals the keys to Shaw's cruiser. Brackett hops into the cruiser and takes off towards Smith's Grove. I agree with Mr. Miller. I think, that's something that I kind of hope 2018 touches on a little bit, because we never got to see Brackett really after he found out Annie was dead.
You mean Halloween Kills?
Yes. That is what I meant. I hope Halloween Kills kind of jumps into that a little bit about that guilt, because he didn't take Loomis seriously and ultimately led to the death of his daughter. After Halloween 2, we never see him again, because by the time we do get to see the sheriff again, it's Bo Starr. So I'd like to see them play on that a little bit in Kills if they have the opportunity to. Who knows?
Yeah, right, because it's going to be so jam packed. And they cut out from Halloween 2018. We know they cut out that scene of Laurie at the shooting range where she puts the gun to her head.
Yeah,
like the daily struggle. Like they cut that out. So already there's so much going on in Halloween Kills. If they did do something like that, it'd probably be cut out in the same way.
It's a shame. Yeah. Brackett deserves more. But I think that would have been neat to see in this script. All right, we don't have a ton left here. We're right at the last chunk. All right. Back at the former hospital, as the surviving teens try to keep themselves hidden from Michael, they come across old video footage of Loomis's sessions with young Michael, as well as a bunch of files of Michael that they rummage through. After once again being attacked by Michael, resulting in Daryl's death, the remaining teens flee and hide elsewhere. And then, in a move taken directly out of a Friday the 13th movie, Leah realizes that she looks like Judith and trims her hair. Although I don't recall Judith having short hair. Valid. She didn't.
She was literally combing her long hair.
Yeah, right. And maybe is she gonna take her clothes off too here and just stand there naked? And then that's the last time Michael saw her. Just saying.
But how do they know? Well, I guess if Loomis is on video talking about it, he probably said something.
Maybe. Yeah. Okay. So she realizes that she looks like Judith and trims her hair, and then speaks to Michael as if she is Judith to lead him away from her brother and Jenny, and thus begins a long chase through the tunnels below Smith's Grove. See, I always feel like Michael is super fucking smart and has no sense of emotion, and that strategy that was used on Jason, it works because he did have such a emotional connection to his mom, and like literally it's a revenge story. Like all of Jason's killings are revenge stories. That's not so much the case for Michael. He just kind of did it. So I don't think that would work so much. Not a good plan. But apparently it does kind of work. I don't know. All right. Brackett and John meet up outside of Smith's Groves and venture inside. They find Noah and Jenny, and Brackett stays with them as John searches for Leah in the tunnels below. Brackett does eventually come face to face with Michael and attempts to shoot him for revenge over Annie, but the gun jams and Michael walks away from him, continuing his pursuit of John and Leah. Eventually, John is wounded by Michael, but him and Leah escape through a tunnel that leads them outside of the building. They tumble down a snow-covered embankment, and John is momentarily knocked unconscious. Brackett, Noah, and Jenny venture outside, and just as Michael attempts to lunge at Leah, Noah musters up a scream to warn her. She avoids the killing blow, but Michael does get a grip on her arm, preventing her from getting away. Just as he brings up his knife with his free hand, he's distracted by a shout from John. John then throws his axe through the air, and it connects with Michael's chest, causing Michael to tumble further down the embankment. Michael does get back up, removing the axe from his chest, but then there is a crack beneath him, and ice gives way, causing Michael to fall into the water below, and he becomes trapped beneath the ice. As survivors approach the ice for a glimpse and confirmation that Michael is finally dead, Michael punches through the ice and grabs John, pulling him into the water below. Eventually, John emerges with Michael's mask, and Leah suggests that John get rid of it because it's evil, but John is compelled to hold on to it and looks at it with black eyes.
Okay, so this was just a draft, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they rushed the ending.
Yeah,
that ending kind of sucks. Like that last paragraph or two that you just read, after John goes under and then he comes back up with the mask and then he's got black eyes.
Yeah, it's kind of that ending is similar to the treatment that Sean Clark made as a sequel to H2O. Sean Clark originally wanted to do a sequel to H2O that basically showed John becoming Michael, and that Michael has been like possessed this whole time, and then he puts on the mask and yada yada. I don't know. It'd be tough for fans to buy into that. Sean's argument was that, people don't like Michael. People like the killer. They like the mask wearing, knife wielding killer. But I still think it'd be a tough thing to buy into.
Weird how people judge Friday the 13th Part 5 based on the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, right.
Literally, somebody commented on your ranking video of all, the Halloween, Nightmare, and Friday the 13th movies, and it's just like, I can't believe it. Like, why are you ranking Friday the 13th Part 5 so high? It's last on my list because it's not Jason.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, because me, I can buy into the fact. I don't really care because that movie was badass. But I don't know. I don't know how I'd feel if it wasn't actually Michael, if it was John instead.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where the Halloween franchise goes after Halloween Kills and Halloween Ends.
Yeah.
If we're going to get, because apparently it's the end of the Strode story, but are we still going to have the Michael Myers there? I think so.
Yeah, you would definitely think so. It's Michael that they're going to keep pushing for. You can't kill him. It's in contract. Can't kill him. Yeah, I don't know, because there's a handful of things, because obviously we're not seeing all that much, because we're not reading the script itself. But yeah, I mean, John throwing an axe and it goes into Michael's chest. Be curious to see how that would play out. And then, like, this comes back to my point about snow and winter weather in October. To have ice, probably on flowing water, I'm assuming this is on a river, maybe, to have thick enough ice where you can stand on it in the first place is just very unlikely.
Especially at that time of year.
Yeah, there's just no. But whatever. And isn't this like the first storm of the year too? Like to have fully frozen over water that quickly, it just I'm nitpicking. I'm just saying.
I mean, I guess it is possible that this far north in Illinois, that it could be a very, very cold October and be, 10 degrees or lower for a whole month, and a lake or a river would be frozen. It is possible, but not likely at all.
If it's a lake, I can buy into that. But our river that we grew up on, that shit doesn't freeze until like January, because it's so hard
when
to
it's
get
like negative 60.
Yeah, it takes forever because of like how fast that water moves on a river like that. It just takes forever to freeze over.
Yeah.
Not the point. I don't know. John going down with Michael and then coming back up with the mask. What did he do to get it? Michael then because to me, all we're assuming then is that he just pulled the mask off and left Michael underwater. So Michael would be very much alive. Listen, he literally has burned to death in Resurrection, and I'm supposed to buy the fact that he can drown. I don't think so, man. So it'd be interesting to have an evil John who apparently is like possessed by this mask now, and Michael's still alive. What if Michael's now innocent and now he talks? And now he's like the John character. They switch places. Be fucking cringy, probably. That's I hate the idea of the whole pretending to be Judith concept. One, it's a blatant ripoff of F-13 Part 2, and I just don't think it makes any sense for Michael. Especially if it works. It'd be funny if she tried it, and then she just got her throat slit. Like, right there. He just stares at her for a second, tilts his head, and then just kills her. It's like, yeah. I'm not Jason, bitch. We'll caption that.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, it seems like it'd be better than Resurrection.
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to say when there's not a movie in front of us. Based on just like this overview, yeah, I would hope it turns out better than Resurrection. It's definitely better written, even though we don't have access to the full script.
Exactly. I'm working on it. I have requested access. Maybe we can look at it another time. But of course, then you still have Loomis flashbacks, which I think are cool. And then if them going into Smith's Grove and then finding files and things on Michael that Loomis took, I think that's cool. That's kind of what Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills are probably going to be doing with like the old tape. Like it needs to die, you know? I think that's cool, and I'd like to see where they went with that. So being able to see the full script for those details would be nice. Yeah, I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's really easy to say. Like, I want to see this get made, and then it does, and it's shit.
I always thought, have you seen See No Evil 2?
No, I have not. Oh, maybe I have.
Like directed by the Soska sisters, Daniel Harris in the morgue.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was paying attention, but yes.
Yeah, it's not a particularly good. It's okay. But I always wanted to see that type of thing happen after Resurrection, a Halloween movie that takes place inside of a morgue. And I kind of thought that was a cool concept for Halloween Kills as well. That Michael is put into a body bag after the events of 2018 and put into the morgue of the hospital that Laurie's in. I always thought that'd be kind of cool to see, because man, that's one thing I like about Halloween 2 a lot, is those super tight like hallways and corridors and the dim ass lighting and white walls, and hospitals don't look like that anymore. But morgues do. Like morgues are still creepy as shit. You ever seen yeah, you have, right? The Autopsy of Jane Doe.
Mm-hmm.
Like imagine Michael in that scenario. That'd be pretty scary. Like that, I've always wanted to see something done like that after Resurrection.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that this script completely just looks over the morgue and where it ended, like you could, even if you're just doing it for an opening scene, you could have something really cool with Michael in the morgue and running with that. Thought that'd be kind of neat, but
Yeah.
Apparently it's never gonna happen.
Probably for the best. I mean, Halloween 2018 was pretty good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's definitely for the better. Resurrection is trash, and seeing a sequel to it, I don't think there's anything to really redeem that story. So starting from scratch, I'm not so sure Rob Zombie's remake was the way to go, as that's ultimately what happened. But yeah, taking up after the original and making Halloween 2018 a thing, I'm okay with that. We'll be all right. If only Halloween Kills, would only be a month away. Yeah, you hate to see it. You hate to see it.
But Anthony Michael Hall is coming to Days of the Dead Chicago.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to go with some Halloween Kills guests now. Maybe get James Ducournau up in there.
Please?
Yeah, James Ducournau, Nick Castle. I was finally going to get to meet Nick Castle at Flashback Weekend, but obviously, COVID canceled that shit. Word around the offices, the CDC said today that a vaccine may go out by the end of October. I doubt it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm going to wait for some tests before I get it.
Side effects include nausea.
Side effects include every single symptom of COVID.
Yeah. I don't know. That's literally a vaccine is the only way that life goes back to what we call normal.
Yeah. Scarefest is still going strong. They're in a bigger area. So I think as long as masks are mandatory, I think Scarefest is going to be a fun time still.
Yeah, hopefully that happens. October 23rd to the 25th will be there, dogs.
So excited.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one.
I miss the food around there. I miss the Kentucky bourbon down there.
I don't even remember any food down there. Oh, well, I guess I remember that burrito place. I remember the Mexican place.
The Pies and Pints pizza was good.
Pies and Pints.
And then wherever we went for that brunch Sunday morning.
Yeah, you know. I don't remember, but I'm all food is food. I'm in.
It was okay.
I've been doing a proper like keto diet for the last not only like a week, but dude, it's killing me.
Well, you have another month and a half before Scarefest goes, and that's out the window.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm gonna because the 1 year anniversary of my engagement is September 28th, so we're gonna go do something for that. And I was like, I'll keto hard until then, and then I'm going back to like just a balanced diet. My goal is I can tell you what my goal is to be under 300 pounds in October. And I thought I was already like 310ish, like 315, 310ish. And then I weighed today and I was like 335, so I almost had to kill myself. Which, don't get me wrong, I'm getting like a lot stronger and shit, but fuck, it killed me a little bit. I'm like, all right, so we're gonna keto the shit out of this for like a month and see if we can get down under 300 pounds before October. Life sucks.
Yeah, I'm trying to lose like 15 pounds at least before Scarefest. It's weird how this is our convention season because we got Scarefest, we got days, maybe possibly 2 Days of the Deads.
Right.
If we go to the Indy again.
Right.
This is our convention season, baby. Because we can afford it at this point.
Maybe.
Save all year.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, because so many things got canceled. Speaking of which, we were supposed to go to Pittsburgh at the end of September, and we're not anymore. I have not even attempted to cancel that flight. I know that they're not going to give me my money back, so I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it. Flights, why is it so difficult to get a refund on a flight? That's what I want to know.
Because the airline, listen, I literally take classes on this because airlines are stingy. Because even if they sell you, or even if they give you like your full refund minus $200, they're still making a shit ton of money.
Yeah, that's why it's stupid.
$200 is just still profit off the top that they're still getting.
I don't get it. Like they're making so much money, and yet you can't give me a refund on my one fucking coach ticket.
Yeah,
selfish. Hate it.
Yeah, and then they charge you, but when they overbook, they charge you that $200 for canceling when they overbook anyway, so that seat is filled immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Which overbooking flights is fucked up too, but
I don't think there's much going on nowadays though, since less people are flying. But,
right.
Yeah.
Still,
I'm excited for conventions.
Yeah, it's gonna be dope. Scarefest should be a good time, and then whatever comes after that. November is Days of the Dead Chicago.
Mm-hmm. And then there is another Days of the Dead Indy over that Halloween weekend. Probably can't make it though, money wise.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not then. But whatever. There's plenty of others. All right. We're getting to the point where we're just rambling, so let's wrap this thing up here. Thank you guys so much for listening. Like I said, make sure you check out the rest of the network and follow us across all socials. That's pretty much it. Is there anything you want to get in there, Nick?
Just believe in the Slash and Cast Podcast Network.
Facts. All right, folks.
Check out those shows. Check out
Literally.
those shows.
All right there. Go to slashcast.net. They're right at the top of the page. Go check them all out. All right.
Yep.
All right. With that, as always, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you or talk to you in the next one. Bye.
Well, 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 would you look at that? You survived all of the crazy and deadly shenanigans that the Slash and Cast Podcast Network threw at you today. Since you made it this far, consider leaving a 5-star review. And make sure you share this show with your creepy friends. Until next time, horror fans, stay safe, and more importantly, stay scared.
I want to hear your screams.